Hello friends, my name is Dan. Thank you for joining me today for Daily Art Adventure number 655. That's right. Started on January 1st, 2017, so 2.5 years in the making. And at the moment I'm doing a 6x6 foot streetscape, cityscape of our main street in downtown Raleigh. Last week, finished just 7 days ago, was the same street looking the other direction. So they're in the same size. So they're very much a pair. Oops, hang on, I forgot to do something. Before I start glazing, which by the way, isn't that pretty? Wow. That was Indian yellow, by the way, and liquid. But before I start glazing, I have these oil paint sticks, and I want to reinforce some of my abstract underpainting. So again, for anyone who here is new, I start for the last, I don't know, year or two, hard to say, I start all of my paintings with a strong, I think that's an appropriate word, with a strong abstract painting underneath the representational painting. And I'm very much in the throes of experiment here with this painting and the last one and this one. Big experiment. What I'm doing right now, you could probably tell, is I'm basically echoing, not tracing over so much, but echoing the shapes, the abstract shapes that are already on the painting. So most of the abstract that you see here is coming through from underneath, although it's been reinforced here and there with abstract marks on top. So I'm in a big state of experimentation because this painting is different. This is not what my paintings have looked like normally, traditionally, for the last several years. When I get to the abstract painting phase. So I'm excited about it, but I'm also slightly lost. I'm not panicked about that, but it's definitely different. All right, I think I've done enough damage. Nope, I guess not. I do a little more. I've done enough abstract stuff. As you can tell, these marks I'm making have nothing to do with the picture whatsoever, other than the fact that they're contrasting to the picture. They're opposite to the picture. That's the only relationship they have to the image. All right, and when I did, so last painting, the last one, similar subject, was a big experiment, and I learned a bunch. One of the mistakes I made on the last one is that when I got to this point, I did a blue glaze over the whole sky. Came to discover that that was a mistake. So a mistake that I'm not going to make this time. I won't get into the why that was a mistake so much, just I discovered that it was, for me. So I'm going to keep the sky for now. I'm going to keep it in the underpainting stage, the underpainting phase, underpainting color. So I'm not going to, this is going to be essentially a blue sky when I'm finished. Does that make sense? Some of you perhaps are familiar with the Cape Cod school of underpainting. They're not the only people that do a complementary sky, but they're, I think, I would say one of the better known schools of thought in painting for doing this complementary. If you don't know this trick, by the way, it's one worth knowing, that doing a complement underneath anything is often a good idea. Thus, a green underneath flesh tone, that's Bouguereau and that clan, that group. It's a trick worth knowing. If you follow that practice, then you might do green underneath foliage or grass. I just said that absolutely wrong. Some of you caught that. No, not green under. No. Red, pink, orange underneath. Underneath what is things that are going to become green. I'm trying to decide what color to go with down here. Do I do yellow or orange? By the way, the oil stick marks that I just put on the canvas get smudged out by these brushes depending on how hard I rub them or how much I rub them. So if you were a little bit worried, as I was, when I was doing those underpainting stuff, don't worry too much, because I can easily either erase them completely if I rub them, or just diminish them, and that's usually what I do. I just push them back just a little bit. All right, I finally decided to go with a permanent rose, beautiful pink, beautiful transparent pink color here. Let me talk again, for any newcomers, just a little bit more about this adventure that I'm on right now. I like this pink so much that I'm going to do some of it up there near the top. I've been on a intentional quest for quite a long time. 6, 7, 8 years, I don't know. Intentional, spoken out loud. If you watched me 2 years ago, I might have said this easily. A quest for my paintings to be more accurate and more messy. So pushing opposite ends of the realism spectrum together. I want them to be in other language, more accurate and more abstract, both. So this experiment that I'm doing right now of trying to maintain, retain, keep the abstract showing through is part of that very trajectory. All right, I need now more Indian yellow. Forgive me for a minute while I rummage through my, let me show you just for fun, for a moment, my oil palette. You got it there? Yeah. This is my travel, and the word just went out of my mind. Oh, it'll come back to me in a second. Art supplies. Tabouret. There we go. It's my traveling tabouret. Those are my acrylics in pots. So somebody asked me, and I didn't get a chance to answer them in a comment yesterday, don't your acrylics skin over while you're painting? And of course the answer is yes, absolutely. So I don't live on a different planet than you. And they are not slow dry. Slow dry would be very counterproductive. So I just, whoops, not like that. I spray them like that. I would think on an average every 10, 15 minutes. So they still skin over slightly, but it's quite humid here this time of year, so they don't skin over too quickly. All right, let me see if I can get you guys pointed in the right direction now. Bear with me. I'm painting out in my garage, my messy garage, because my nice studio in the house can't quite handle a painting 6 feet tall. Darn. So my wife and I are discussing issues like that. I've gone back to a yellow here, Indian yellow. Okay, I didn't tell you one mindset, one step of this process. I shared it with you just the other day. I don't know which day, Friday or Saturday. Whenever you do glazes, and what you're seeing me now do is I still have students and followers say, I just don't get this glaze thing. I'm sorry, I don't get what you don't get. That doesn't sound like a good teacher, does it? It's crystal clear color, crystal clear, like a piece of colored cellophane or glass. Clear, no fog, no mist, no opacity in it whatsoever. And it's very thin. It's just a matter of just learning the ratios, I guess, of medium. Same thing in acrylics and oils. Acrylic glaze means glaze. Means crystal clear, clear as glass, clear as cellophane color, achieved by mixing something like this, one of these medium products, lots of medium. That's where I think most students get slightly confused, because being children of the 20th century, they are, and their teachers have always painted with straight out of the tube colors, and because of that, straight out of the tube paint, because of that, they don't really understand the use of mediums. Okay, so I've gotten this far in, I better keep talking and get myself out. Let me explain this to you. When you're making a glaze, like I think most people, their default setting is kind of like the way my daddy painted, literally. You take paint out of your tube, you put a ribbon of it on your palette, and if you want to loosen it up, lighten it up a little bit, so to speak, lighten the viscosity, the heaviness of it, you put out a few drops of linseed oil. Just whoop, whoop, couple drops. That's how most people think of mediums. Most traditional, unless you've been whacked by a good teacher of glazing, then that's how you think. That's your default setting for mediums. Your mindset, if you're traditionalist, your mindset is you paint with paint to the paint. Do you like the sound effects? You add beep, 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 a little medium. That's traditional. In my world, that's completely backwards. Are you paying? Some of you need to hear this. My world, no. You paint. Okay, here. I need some more anyway. So let's do this. In my world, in the world of transparent layers, which is the traditional, you paint with medium. You see that pile of medium? That's liquid. You paint with medium, and you add to the medium. Now, you don't really do it that way. You add to the medium a tiny bit of paint. Okay, some of you, you've asked me about this question. I sure hope you catch this broadcast. You traditional folks, you think, I'll use a word picture now, you think that your painting stew, in your stew, the meat and potatoes are your paint, and your salt and pepper are your medium. That's what you think. That's traditional painting. If you want to paint like me, whoa, backwards change. No, in my world, your meat and potatoes is the medium. The paint is the salt and pepper. All right? Boy, I hope somebody's listening that needs to hear that. Now, can you go too far? Can you actually do so much medium that you have to, of course. But generally speaking, when I have a student who, like in class, who does that, who mixes up a batch that is too much medium and then not enough paint, I go, woohoo! Way to go, man, woman. You are on the right track, because you've broken out of your conventional thinking. I think that's the biggest mistake when, again, forgive me for being so self-focused here, but when people are trying to paint in my technique, and of course it's not mine alone, me and Rembrandt, when you're trying to paint in our technique, that's the difference. Lots of medium, little paint. All right, so so lots of medium on these brushes. I just dip the few of the bristles into a pile of paint there, and I've got the mix that I want. All right. Oh, the other thing I'm going to say, I require my students. Come on, my music's supposed to be playing, and it starts to bother me when it stops playing. The other thing I tell my students, especially when they're taking a class, a live, what other kind of class can you take? A dead one? Anyway, when you're taking a class from me live, whenever you're about to do a glaze, that could be acrylic or oil, whenever you're about to do a glaze, you must say this. If you're all by yourself, you can say it silently in your mind. But I don't trust you, because if you don't say it out loud, I don't believe you're saying it quietly. Here's what you must say. A little bit of a wink there, but only a little bit. And if you're in my class, there's no wink about it at all. You absolutely must say this. All right, you ready? Here's what you must say before you start the glaze. You put your hand on your chin, like so. Doesn't matter if you have a beard or not. Women, you put your hand on your bare chin. And you nod, you look at paint and go, uh-huh. Well, I like it pretty much. That's the part you have to say. and you think I'm crazy. No. I think you're crazy. Because you cannot believe how hard it is for many students to get those, I hate it. No. Start over. Hand on chin. Say, I like it pretty much. Some of you who are psychologically sophisticated and maybe socially sophisticated, you're going, I know exactly what you mean, you're exactly right. Most people, not just artists, but people in general, spend all their life beating themselves up so bad, and that does not help you be a better painter. I could turn, listen to this, somebody out there needs to hear this. I can turn every single one of you into a better painter in 4 seconds. Less than that. All you have to do is stop saying bad things about your painting. Got it? Do that and you're, I would guess, a 30, 35, 40% better painter just by cutting all the negative crap out of your language. Stop saying, eliminate that from your vocabulary. We all deal with that. Stop it. It sounds like, I don't know what I sound like. Preacher, I guess, don't I? Well, I am passionate because I want you all to become better painters. Better artists. Better people, for that matter. Okay, so you cut all that mealy-mouthed, self-effacing, falsely humble or truly humble, negative crap out of your language. All right, let me get back to painting now. So you put your chin, and I haven't finished yet. You put your chin on your hand, you say, uh-huh, I like it pretty much. And by the way, I do like mine pretty much. But you're supposed to say it about yours too. But I wish it was more blank. And the blank, not more better. No. Wrong grammar and wrong impulse. You say, I like it pretty much. I just wish it was more. And the blank is a color. Not lighter, darker, because it's going to get darker. With a glaze, you understand? If you put any colored cellophane, any color, pale gray, doesn't matter, any color of cellophane, no matter what it is, the painting's going to get darker because it's got a layer of color on it. Are you with me? So you can't say, I wish it was lighter. No, that's That comes later. We'll get it lighter later, but not now. So the thing you're saying is, I wish it was more blank. And the blank is a color. Red, yellow, white, and white. Red, yellow, blue, orange, purple, green, basically, okay? One of the primary or secondary colors. So for instance, on my sky up here, I said, before I started, I said to myself, I like it pretty much, which I really did and really do. I just wish it was warmer and pink or yellower. So yellow, pink, a little bit of pink and orange up there. That's what I did. I looked at this building and said, I do wish it was darker, but I want it more browner, a little more brown and orange. Boom, done. Get it? This building, I want bluer. But I'm not going to do that right now because I've got brownish stuff. Down here right in the middle, I said, I like it pretty much. I just want it warmer. So I did a dirty or contaminated Indian yellow. What I mean is I don't bother, usually when I'm doing glazes, don't bother cleaning my brushes unless I really have to. All right? So please, please, please start that practice. You will be a better painter. Stop saying bad things, say good things. And when you're glazing in particular, you say, I like it pretty much. I just wish it was more color, whatever color. Okay, so I'm looking at this area up here. I like it pretty much. I wish it was browner. Now that's not, okay, so that's a mild cheat, right? That's not a primary, secondary. That's not red, orange, yellow, blue, green, purple. It's not a primary, secondary. I might have missed one there. You fill in the blanks. Browner is okay. In fact, I happen to have on my palette my favorite glazing color, which is oxide red. This happens to be a brand from Charvan out of Marseille, France. Good paint. One of the nice things, and I don't recommend making a study of this. In fact, most of painting, I don't recommend making a study. I recommend making a play out of it. Playing with stuff and learning stuff by playing. I don't recommend studying and like making a list necessarily of your favorite colors. But one of the nice things, one of the nice things about painting quite a bit is little by little you begin to learn. Let me pick one that I love, the Charvan oxide red. I also like Rembrandt, maybe not quite as well, but close enough. I like Winsor Newton dioxazine violet, plenty good. I like M. Graham ultramarine. Well, here's one. I love Michael Harding permanent green light. Do not take notes about anything that I just said. Do not. I forbid you. I did not give you the answer. My point was, don't make a study. Don't write that stuff down. No. Play. Be like a kid. Experiment. And in fact, that's one of the beefs I have with a lot of serious art teachers, serious painting teachers. No, you must buy Rembrandt oxide red. I will not be put up with any other color. Crap. Arrogant, elitist crap. Do not, okay, if you have to do it to get through their class, hold your nose and get through their class and do what they say. But do not take a class from them again unless they change your life for the better. No, arrogant crap. Do not follow a teacher that tells you you must use this, that, the other color. No, stop it. If I could snap my fingers and get one crappy habit out of the whole art community, it would be that. Snob teachers telling you have to have this brand of brush and you have to use this kind of color or you're not any good. It's arrogant crap. Anyway, have I used that word enough in the last 2 minutes? Crap. My mama might listen to this. She'll be scandalized. But at least I'm not saying shit. Sorry, Mom. Okay, but I'm serious. Do not. I just told you what colors I like. Please do not take notes and say, "Oh, Dan Nelson, he uses Charvan oxide red. I should too." No. It's just the color I like. You're different. You're you. Don't. And I don't even like I said, and I've taken from some of those guys too. In order to take their class, you have to buy their brand. Now, if it's just a suggestion, okay, that's okay. Suggestions are okay. But if as long as it's not couched in, and if you don't use the colors I do, you're a slug and not a man, woman. You know, you're just no good. No, that's ridiculous. Do not yield to that kind of pressure. That's ridiculous. All right, man, I am just full of I'm full of rants today. Somebody came on yesterday and said, "Oh boy, I'm here just in time for the rants." And I didn't have any. So I'm making up for it today. I'm making up for the lack of rants yesterday or day before, Saturday. I'm doing lots of them today. It's for your own good. Hey, I mentioned this thing a little while ago about, let me wax philosophical for just a minute. I said a while ago that I am passionate about all of us. I'm going to state it more. I said all of you. That's true, but all of us is more accurate. I am passionate about all of us becoming better painters. I really am. And okay, what's going on there? Is that like visions of grandeur? What's the deal? Why do I care whether you're a good artist? I've been paying attention for decades now, especially as I get older. This is a real conversion, if you will, from the thoughts of a young man to the thoughts of an older man. No man is an island. We all are interrelated. We're all connected. As young people, I think, our default setting usually tends to default on the I'm a rock, I'm an island. Thank you, Paul Simon and Garfunkel. We tend to come down on the I am a free and independent thinker. Nobody influences me. I do my own thinking. I make up my own mind, and so on. That's what young people think. As an older person, I now think there's some truth in that, but there's maybe more folly, more wrongness in that thinking. Because now I think the fact is we all influence each other deeply. If I could use a silly word picture, imagine a bowl full of Jell-O, oatmeal, sticky ooey gooey, something really gelatinous. If you have a bowl here and you stick, say, a brush into that, and you move your brush this way, it doesn't move all by itself. It takes the sticky, thick, gelatinous substance and pulls it with it. That's how society actually works. One person moves this way, everybody around him tends to move that direction, and vice versa. That is, we all influence each other. Let me get back to the point. Why do I want you and you guys to be better artists? Because we all go up together or we all go down together. Now, of course, you guys don't influence me as much as people close in my circle, but if you're watching this video, you're tangentially at least in my circle. And let's just say I want all the artists in America to get better. I want all the artists in China and India and Africa to get better too, just South Africa, you name it. Yeah, I do, but not as much as I want the artists in America to get good. But if all the artists in America got better, it would have a beneficial brush-in bowl. It would have a beneficial effect on all the artists in India, China, South America, Africa, and so on and so forth. Australia, I keep missing you guys. Do you get it? So we all, you and I, we happen to be alive in the same moment in history. Even if we don't live in the same place, we all live in the same moment in history. If the world lasts another couple thousand years, which frankly I expect it to do, historians will clump you and me all together. They'll say, yeah, these are people that lived, most of us probably live in more or less Western civilization, even if you're in India, which several of you are, because you know our cultures have melded somewhat, so we're related. If you're in India and you're painting like me, we're painting in the same culture. Get it? All right. So we're more closely related than most people would tend to think. And I've said it a minute ago. I'll say it again. We all go up together, or we all go down together. There's so many examples of this. So many examples of this. Let me turn down my music just a little bit. So many examples of this. I used to be, for many years of my adult life, I was a pretty serious runner, distance runner. I ran in high school. I was offered, didn't take it, but I was offered a mild college scholarship to run track and cross country. I didn't take it. I had other goals. But, you know, I wasn't a great runner, but I was good enough to get college offers. Small college offers, let me say that, not major university. Okay, I'm just trying to help you pigeonhole me, if you will. How good was I? Meh. There are 1,000 people in the country better than I, but only 1,000. Over the decades, well, take Roger Bannister, for instance, right? He broke the 4-minute mile in May of 1954. I was 3 months old when he broke the 4-minute mile. 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks later, Landy broke his record by a second. And then the two of them met some months later and had one of the mile runs of the century. I remember a long time ago hearing a statistician just studying only the New York Marathon, which is one of the most popular, largest number of competitors, runners of any marathon in the world. Tens of thousands of people running and they plotted very carefully a graph, and there is this won't surprise any of you, there's this consistent, there's a smooth curve for the performance of people running the New York Marathon over decades and decades and decades. One person breaks a certain time, which seems at the time almost unfathomable. A year later, a handful do, then scores do, then hundreds do, then thousands do. By the way, this is funny on a tangent. Just given my best times and everything from the 100-yard dash to the marathon, if I had been alive in 1896 and could have participated in the first Olympic Games, I believe this is true, I would have won the 100-yard dash, the 200, the 220, the 400, the 800, the mile, and whatever else, all the way up to the marathon. I would have won every single one of those events. And what I'm bragging about here is not how good I am. No. I was a very mediocre college runner. How many races did I win in my college career? Under 10. And that was only because, we weren't running against some powerhouse. Okay, so mediocre. The point is that humanity does this curve thing. Let's get off running for a minute. The same thing is true in every field of human endeavor. Here's one of my favorites I have nothing to do with. Shade tree sports car mechanics in England. Now, I don't know if this is in London, southern England. For some reason, somebody from England, straighten me out here, I tend to think of this as kind of a northern, middle England thing, north of London, south of the moors. Men, and this is in the last 50 years, men in their garage, I forget how they say garage, tinkering with their MGs and their Spitfires and so they could run road rallies and stuff. It's just, that was a cultural wide phenomenon. and they all got better. They all went up together, or they all go down together. That's okay, enough talking. That's the way human beings are. Why do I want you to be a better artist? Because, very selfishly, because if you get better, I'll get better. No, I mean, you and I might not even meet. Let me go back to running for a minute. In the early 80s, when I was pretty close to the peak of my running, so I was out of college, had been out of college for several years, was still training pretty hard. I could run, a marathon in 4:40 something, but I trained with a guy who ran a marathon in 4:20, and he was trying to get to the Olympic tryouts. I don't think he ever made it, but he trained with people who could run a 4:15 marathon. I mean 2:15. If I said 2:40 is what I'm talking about. He ran a 2:22 at the time, which is equivalent of a 4-minute mile, by the way, something like that. 4:20, 4:22 marathon is equivalent of a 4-minute mile. And he said to me, because we were running together, we were running pretty fast, as you can imagine, under 6-minute miles for 10 miles or something. And that only matters to you if you are a runner. And he said, I helped him train. Why? This is in Minneapolis, Minnesota, because he didn't have to go very far. We lived in the same community. He didn't have to go very far to find somebody who wasn't as good as him, but was pretty darn good, and made him get out on a cold winter's day and run his butt off, that he wouldn't have done maybe quite as hard if I hadn't been there to push him. Does that make sense? And he, likewise, running a 4:20 marathon, which is pretty amazing. I never, ever close to that. He trained with other guys, not too far away, and he made them run their butts off, where maybe they wouldn't have trained quite as hard. Do you see how it is? We all influence each other. If there's any old marathon runners out there, Gary Borkland Sports. He was a world-class marathoner in Minnesota at the time. And it just trickles down. It just does trickle down. I never forget, I moved to Minnesota. My wife and I moved there in 1981 from Texas, where it has been the hottest summer on record. It was over 100 degrees, 100 days in a row in central Texas. Then we moved to Minnesota, where it was under 30 for over 100 days in a row, the same year. And I was out picking up, I was a youth pastor in a church at the time. I was out picking up young people for breakfast before school. And it was pitch black. It was like 6:30 in the morning. And came around a corner in a subdivision, and there's a woman. So at the time, I was more influenced in that regard. Maybe I wouldn't think so much of it now. There's not a high schooler, a young adult woman, 10 below zero, pitch black, and she's out by the side of the road, getting in her morning jog. 6:30 in the morning, 10 below zero, pitch black, and this woman in Minnesota. So when that happens, as a runner, you go, oh, I guess I got to up my game around here. It's exactly the way I felt. All right, so why do I want you to be a better artist? Because we all go up together or we all go down together. And I'm serious about that. I know some of my illustrations might be a little bit crazy, but I'm as serious as I can be. I want you to be a better painter, because the world becomes a better place if we have a whole bunch of better painters in it. It becomes more serious, more beautiful, more skilled. Now here's one of the, I read a lot of science and philosophy and history and all kinds of heavy stuff. Here's one of the slightly troubling facts about modern society, is that all of us enjoy the scientific, technical expertise, prowess, study, backlog of work of a very small handful of very smart people. That's one of the more troubling aspects is how average most of society is. I'm still on the subject of why do I want you to be a better painter. It's not just that. I want you to be a better human being. And if you're not, of course, I'm talking to you because I'm painting, and if you're watching me, it's maybe because you're a painter. But it doesn't end at painting. We all go up together, or we all go down together. We all slide down to a mediocre level of mediocrity. That was a brilliant sentence. Or we go up together. And so that's why I teach rather passionately sometimes, because doggone it, I want you to be a better painter. I absolutely, really, and truly do. Of course, I want to be a better painter too. What are you talking about? Of course. I don't put myself up. In fact, I'm putting myself down. I'm in there with you. I'm just one of the gang. Again, we see this through history. Were the Dutch, say, of the High Renaissance, were they better painters than us? Yep. Yep, they were. That's pretty distressing when you think that people 350 years ago, the general population, was more intelligent than we are. I don't mean in every way, of course, but even if they were more intelligent in some ways, that irritates me. I don't really live an irritated life. It might sound like it right now, but I'm just giving you the, what's the word? Plus, I gotta say something while I'm doing all this boring painting. Do I have any chats? I got a whole bunch of chats. Good. Can't wait to see what you guys have said. I've driven off all the people that can't stand my ranting. What are this guy's talking about? They're all gone, aren't they? Looking for a rag. Dry one. There we go. All right, time to start wiping off. And lots of good chats. Hey, Uncle 60. What is that dark purple mark you made in the middle edge of the blue building? Oh, middle edge. Oh, is it this right here, or is it this right here? That's just, oh, this right here. That, yeah, that's weird. That's just one of my, that was in the underpainting. And my grandson, 8-year-old Izzy, said, it looks like King Kong climbing the building, which I thought was pretty hilarious. I will say that mark will probably get significantly diminished under the blue of the sky, but it will not be wiped out. So I was willing to let it stay there this intensely, this long. That will probably get significantly pushed back in the later, in the blue sky stage of the painting. But again, it won't be covered up. It'll still be visible. It'll just be diminished somewhat. So that's all it is. So that mark, that's pretty crazy, isn't it? That was made at the very beginning. It's part of the abstract. By the way, you see the shadow of my head in my hands there. That's coming off that's reflecting off a windshield behind me. And I actually went out before I started this broadcast and moved one car to try to diminish. Now it's coming back to, the sun's moved, so it's coming back to haunt me, so to speak. Okay, so you know the drill, you regulars anyway. Here I am. I am just wiping off where I want the glaze to be lighter. Did I say later? Where I want the glaze to be lighter. I love the degree of control that I have when I'm wiping paint off. The harder I rub, the longer I rub, the lighter it gets generally. So I have a very high degree of control, and yet it's not the kind of control that results in a control freak look, right? Usually a high degree of control is a dangerous thing because it leads to stiff, fussy painting. All right, the last thing that I know I need to get is the windows in this building. Let me see if I'm afraid if I stand up, I'm going to be right in your way. Let me look and see if I am. Just a nice shot of my backside. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, hang on just a minute. I'm going to move you guys. Earthquake coming. I'm sorry about that. Woo! All right, I think you can see around me pretty well now. So all these windows in this building have to be somewhat lighter. At least they don't have to be, but for the sake of similitude, realism, accuracy, they are all reflecting blue sky behind us in a fairly dark red brick building. So if I want it a little bit realistic, then how's that? You're seeing a great shot of my full garage. I'll wrap up some finishing thoughts on that rant that I just had about we all go up together, we all go down together. We get better together, we get worse together. And in my opinion, this is no surprise to you regulars, that the 20th century was a disaster in the realm of painting. Painting got married to idealism, messages. Idealism, that's a good word. I mean, be more honest. Painting got wedded to, inextricably linked to communication, which means preaching, propaganda, and sales. The least troubling of those is sales. So it became common belief for the 20th century that art was communication, that artists have a message that needs to get out. As you know, I think that's a bunch of crap. There, my mom's getting upset again. Okay, Mom, sorry, try not to use the word crap anymore this morning. She doesn't usually watch these, actually, but that's all right. She might someday. She does sometimes. Once art is conceived of as primarily a vehicle for communicating messages, then the art dies and it turns into a vehicle for communicating messages. I am brilliant. It's just spectacular how smart I am. I'm being facetious. So it's no longer art. It's, again, propaganda and preaching. Now that doesn't mean there wasn't a lot of good stuff that happened in the 20th century. There was. But generally speaking, the skill, the kind of skill I talk about day in and day out on my daily art adventure, the skills of painting were largely lost, and still are. I mean, I presume you all know, I could not paint like this in any major university art department in the Western world and expect, to get good grades or expect to be approved by my professors. No, my professors would just as soon stick ice picks through their eyes as to be forced to consider. That's a slight exaggeration, but only slight. It gets the point across. No, they really, because they would say, well, first of all, they would say this is decorative, which is hilarious, because the abstract stuff now that they do is actually decorative and used for decoration 10-to-1 over anything representational. Plus, the word decorative used to mean abstract. I talked about that last week. Got that insight from Paul Talks that Tony, I think, set me onto. All right, but there we go. I am done with the glaze, as far as I can tell. Next step, I'm thinking. Next step will probably be dark details. That means transparent, right? Of course, I don't need to tell you that. If I say dark, that means transparent. If it's transparent, that means dark. You newcomers, you didn't know that, but all the regulars do. So I think dark details. Let me think. Or should I do fuzz, the fuzz layer, the glow layer, and then dark details? No. I'm a little bit lost because I'm in new territory. All right, let's see what kind of wonderful chats you guys have left while I have been ranting and raving. And then I'm going to end this broadcast and leave it fairly brief, slightly brief. I'll be back again later today, again doing some dark details, maybe just when I finish up, and so on. I hope to be 95% done this painting by the end of the day. Uncle 60, love the colors. Tell Congress that. Oh no, Uncle, did you retract a bunch of your messages? Okay, I'll take it. Thank you for the Benji. Yeah, nice colors. Thank you. Hello, Susan. Good to have you on board. Oh my goodness, and there's a language I don't understand. Thank you for commenting. I'll translate you when I get off. No, Horatio, Uncle 60, the two 6x6 paintings are not sold. I'd be glad to drive down to Florida and deliver them to you if you'd like. Good, thank you, Uncle. Thank you for asking. What language is that? Benji, your running metaphor. I visualize this modern mountain and free climbers achieving such great heights because someone took the first. Exactly. That's the way all human nature is. Somebody goes higher, further, longer, faster than you do, and then somebody else comes along and outdoes him and outdoes him. And behind the pinprick of these extreme pioneers is the rest of humanity. That we all go up together, and in every way. There are a lot of people that don't have any ambition to go up, morally, physically, spiritually, skillfully, artistically, athletically, and so on. My heart goes out to them. That's a damaged human being. We're all supposed to be wanting to get better at everything. Horatio, are you in New Jersey? Okay, I had you in Texas. Then the other night you said Florida. I thought you said Florida. New Jersey. Okay, I have to see, that's northeast. New Jersey is that way where I sit. I'm looking north. I have to recalibrate completely. All right. George Sardis. Hey, man. Artist George from South California. I always look forward to your broadcast, Dan. I appreciate your insights. Thank you, George. Thanks for leaving a chat. Good to hear from you. And Uncle 60 says, from close up, that dark looks okay, but from far away, it looks like a semi-erotic. Thanks for pointing that out. I will make sure that... Oh, that's hilarious. You stand back 10 feet or so. Oh, my. Thank you. Yeah, I've had that experience more than once in my career. What's that? It looks kind of like a... Whew. Boy, that's funny. All right, guys. Thank you. And gals, thank you for your company. As I said, I'm going to, I think, continue right on painting. But the next step is a little bit small and finicky, and it could get boring because you can't see everything I'm doing. But I'll bring you in for maybe the tail end of that stage and go from there. Okay? Thanks for your company. Appreciate it very much. Bye-bye.